verses 2 to 4. Integrity in ministry is essential. Every year we have to do this thing where we have to make room for our Christmas tree. And we have two philosophies. I like a full house, and Lori likes a kind of spaced out house. And she grew up in this and we both grew up in small houses. Our house was 24 by 24 when I was a boy. Yours wasn't much bigger, but you had like 5 children in that house, and there was only one child in my parents' house that was 24 by 24. So space was like, we didn't have a lot of stuff. So like, she grew up in a bedroom with 4 girls sharing one bedroom with a curtain down the middle. That is amazing that they are still alive. Anyway, Scripture says here, make room for us in your hearts. He's talking to the Corinthians. That's Paul talking to the Corinthians. And last week we had this section where Paul was teaching them about opening their hearts wide to him, and that they had opened their hearts wide to them as well, and opening their hearts to you. And it's just continuing on from last week. And he's saying here, like, why should we make room for Paul in our hearts? Like, that's the question he's anticipating. And he moves on here. We wronged no one. They weren't unjust. They weren't wicked. They didn't do bad things there. Secondly, we corrupted no one. We brought no harm, no defilement. They did not foul the pool. Paul was very careful there. We didn't defile anybody. Number 3, we took advantage of no one. We didn't overreach our bounds. He's saying, I did not speak, in verse 4, I did not speak to condemn you. He's not trying to make them feel bad. But they've got this ongoing argument going on. They got this ongoing, unsettling contention going on in the church. And if you haven't picked up yet, 2 Corinthians deals a lot with conflict in the church. In disagreements and fights and fusses, and this has all been going on, and he doesn't want to make them feel bad. He says, I do not speak to condemn you, because I have said before that you are in our hearts. Like, Paul loves them, and he has no intention of hurting them. To die together and to live together. He's like, no matter what comes our way, we'll love you. We do love you. And God is my great confidence in you. He can talk about them with no reservation. He can know that he can trust them to follow God. He's seen it in them, and he holds nothing back, no reservation. And he allows his heart to go out to them. In fact, he goes on in verse 4, great is my boasting on your behalf. I am filled with comfort. That word comfort is where we get our word encouragement from. I'm filled with comfort. I'm filled with encouragement. I am overflowing with joy, beyond measure, bubbling up from within, unable to contain. Ever put a cork in a bottle and vinegar and soda and watch it can't contain it? It's like, poof. I told you a few weeks ago I was making grape juice. And we had these quart sealers, and it's my grandmother's recipe, cup of grapes, cup of sugar, you pour boiling water on, seal it, and it makes the most amazing grape juice, like Welch's grape juice. But I guess my water wasn't boiling enough, and it began to fizz and began to ferment. I had somebody ask me what problem with that was, but I'm Baptist, so it is a problem. And so I was away, and then I don't know whether it was in the daytime, so the jar went poof in our living room, or dining room, and because you turn the jar every day, you have to keep turning the jar, and it went poof, and it poofed all over. I wasn't there to clean up. I messed that cleaning job. I had to take it all apart, reboil everything, and now it's normal juice again. It's doing fine. I am filled with comfort, encouragement. I am overflowing. Cannot be contained. Just as the juice could not be contained in a glass jar, it could not be contained in their hearts. In all of our affliction. Who remembers what that word affliction is? What's the picture that's supposed to come up? We've been talking about affliction a lot in this passage. Y'all been sleeping? It's the idea of a great press. Pressure on all sides. That word affliction is the idea that no matter every square inch of me is finding pressure coming in. ever lived life like that? Ever had times in life like that where it just seems that there's pressure everywhere? With some words here. Be willing to wait out God's timing. Be willing to wait out God. God has timing. And for you, it may be that this is a pressing time. It will end. It will be finished. Wait it out. When repairing relationships, continue to hope and to not lose heart. I have a friend that has had a relational difficulty. It's been now 25 years, and every year or two he just puts out, it's just like fishing. He just like put the lure out, passes it by. Will the person make any attempt to connect? Will the person make any attempt to repair? So far, they haven't. Not losing hope. Patience. Number 2, don't let the one sore spot rob you of current joy. You understand that life has tension in it? There's relational tension, and when this relationship gets repaired, there'll be another thing, because you know what? You're human and they're human. You put two humans together and you get tension. We don't think alike. I used to think Lori and I were perfect. I mean, we thought exactly alike until we got married, and then I understood that I think everything wrong. She's right. No, we have our own share, back and forth.
You don't do the yes dear thing, right?
What?
You don't do the yes dear thing, right?
The yes dear. Well, sometimes yes dear is a good answer. Right, guys? Sometimes yes dear is a good answer. Yes. You bring your stuff in, they bring their stuff in. Relational tension will happen. It's easy to get caught up in the relational tension and lose the joy for all of the other things that God is doing in your life around you. The one thing, why is it when you walk and you get a pebble in your shoe, it feels like you've got a cement block in there? It's pronounced. Like when I was a kid, when I shut the door of the car on my finger, my whole body felt like a finger. Everything was hurting. Why is it when you have a toothache and it's not quite frozen and the dentist hits the spot and it feels like it's going through everything? It's easy to get drawn in, to think that the one thing, the one point of difficulty is everything. Don't get drawn into that. Learn that in the midst of tension, in the midst of these other things, you can also take in the joy that God is working in your life.